Hey, it's Chris. What if your iPhone could make you a more productive, more accomplished person while at the same time keeping your personal information and data more private? Well, it can, at least not without some of the apps that I'm about to talk to you about. First of all, did you see my Apple Watch battery test and my tour through some of my favorite spots in Denver? If you didn't, I'm gonna link it up down below because I'm really proud of it and the shots that we got. Also, have you checked out our podcast, the Dailytekk After Party? That said, let's get into the first app I wanna share with you guys today. It's an important one. I've been waiting to share this with you forever. It's been in the holster, only today does it finally get to come out. It's called Jumbo. And look, we live in a time when all of our personal information is almost under attack. There's all these terrible things that you can actually do a lot to prevent with an app like Jumbo. Not an app like Jumbo, with Jumbo, because there's no other app like Jumbo. So here's how Jumbo works and what it does. What it does is it scans all the different apps that you use. Think of like your social apps, Twitter, for instance, Facebook, for instance. It goes through those and it says, here's some actionable recommendations that you can take, some things that you can do to protect your online privacy. Now, it doesn't like force you to do those, it just recommends. And then you choose like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that. And so it's sort of like having someone in your corner, like a privacy coach who's out there to help you maintain a healthier online more private life. So there's four main areas of protection that you get here. Number one, security, so like dark web or two-factor authentication. Number two, digital footprint, so your old tweets, your old Facebook posts, your search history. Also tracking, so ad tracking, social media, your online status. And then reputation and data leaks, so your profile info, your Facebook tags, and your post visibility. So honestly, I could delve into all the details a lot more, but this thing will do everything from helping you prevent like unwanted robocalls to removing your address and your real phone number and your email from data brokers. The next app that I want to talk to you about is called Thrive, and this thing is amazing. What it is an app to actually help you tackle your big, huge, long-term goals. So it's not like a daily to-do list kind of productivity tool. It is a productivity tool, but it's meant to help you actually like accomplish life goals. Not like go get the milk today, right, from the store. It's more like I want to get this job by halfway through next year or whatever. But it's so different. I can't even tell you. You have to get in there and experience it because a lot of thought, as soon as you go through the setup process of setting up one of your goals, you can tell a lot of thought went into making this actually useful. And when it's actually useful, I really do feel like this can help you guys accomplish big things in your life. So the big difference here is that it's not vague. So when you come up with a goal, something that you want to accomplish, then it helps you think through the steps that are going to be required to tackle that goal and to make real progress. And then it helps you work on those one at a time to really do it. The other thing that I like that this thing does is that it also helps you save your ideas and sort of track those so that you can then take actions to implement them later on too. And I'm not even done yet. This app it's like the Swiss Army knife of like succeeding at life. But the other thing that it can help you do is visualize your decisions and help you understand what you want to do and really break those down. I'm not going to dive into that too much, but just know that I do think, I don't say this lightly, this is one of those apps that really could be transformative for a person's life. I got another really important app for you guys today. It's called Winno, and it's spelled Winno. And what it is, it's a news app, but it's so different than anything. It's not like a fire hose that's just gonna you're gonna drown in all the news that's out there and opinions. What it is, it's a human curated, get to the point, bare bones, just give me the facts, fact checked, by the way, news app. So you don't come into this app to kill some time and to read a bunch of stuff. You come into this app to understand what's happening right now and to actually get the facts of the matter. So when you get into the app, you'll see that there's some topics, and you can save some of the topics that are most interesting to you, like tech or whatever. But whether it's world news or politics, whatever, you'll see some stuff that's live updating. So you can always be up to date with just these little tidbits of the most important little chunks or clips of information. So I'm talking about summaries, quotes, tweets, maybe photos, all of that stuff is what you get updated. And it's just, there is no information overload. The reason that this is so important is somebody asked me the other day, like, how do you get your news and make sure that it's the actual news and not fake news? I hate that that's even a term in our digital era. This app, I think, is so important for our divisive times. Like, I think this is the kind of app that can help get everybody back on the same page and just slice out like the opinion and whatever side somebody might feel like they're on and just get to the core. And then you as a person, you make up how you feel about the news. But this is the actual news. This got on my homepage because it's that important and because I like it that much. And ironically, I don't spend that much time in it because it's so concise and to the point. It's funny how that works. But really, please, I'm asking you, give this one a try because I think everybody needs this. All right, let's talk about another pretty important app. It's 1.1.1.1. It's gonna help keep your internet connection private because look, your internet service provider, they see everything that you do. And I hate to tell you this, all your personal habits and information, that can get very easily collected up, vacuumed up, packaged, and sold. But there's all these companies out there with so much information about you, and they know you maybe better than you even know yourself in some cases. Like, I find myself at a coffee shop a lot, of course. You guys know I love coffee. And if I'm there working and maybe I wanna jump on the internet, it's not a good idea to get on an unsecured connection like that. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, this thing is free, by the way. So there's no excuse to not use this, especially on public Wi-Fi, but maybe just anyways. And a side benefit of using this, aside from keeping your data more private or whatever, is that it can speed up your internet too. Because I don't know how much you know about this thing called DNS, but your connection from your phone to your internet, it could use some optimizing. So like, how much faster are we talking? They have this warp feature and it could make some stuff like 30% faster for you. And hey, that might make a difference. All right, the next app that I'm gonna talk to you about is called Brill. It's Brill 2.0. It's been around a little bit. New version came out recently, 2.0. I'm just gonna warn you up front. It does have a fairly steep monthly cost associated if you want to get all the benefits of using the app. What it is this easiest way to capture like handwritten notes. So let's say you're a Post-it note kind of person. And by the way, Post-it note has their own app out, which is pretty cool. It's decent, it's cool, but Brill I think is a little bit cooler right now. And maybe you got like 20 different Post-it notes that you produced this week on your desk and they're all over. You can just take a picture and Brill will suck all those into the app and you can work with that data really easily. So it's a cool interface. So you line up your sticky notes and then you take a picture and it shows you what's gonna get captured. And then you can take pictures of multiple sticky notes before actually capturing and digitizing them. And you can see them in a stack and sort through them. It's really nice. It's not your typical note-taking app. If you're thinking this is something that is gonna look like Apple Notes when you open it up or Bear or any of those, it's not. You do have folders, you can color, code those folders and stuff. It has a different feel. And I think it's gonna be suited to a lot of different people out there. It works with your Apple Watch, which is a big deal if you need to dictate a note right away. A lot of people liked Bear for that. Apple Notes still doesn't have an Apple Watch app. So if you require that for your note app, I mean, this is another option for you. I've been getting more and more into books lately. Now with a caveat, I found like I haven't had as much time to read lately, but I have a lot of time to multitask and listen to an audiobook using Audible, whether I'm like shooting some B-roll or maybe when I'm falling asleep at night. My days are so busy, an audiobook just fits in a little bit better. But look, Goodreads used to be like the place where you could go and get some really good book recommendations, and Goodreads is not so good anymore. So many complaints about that out there if you look it up. And if you're looking for an alternative community, Bookself is the place for you. Isn't that clever? It's not Bookshelf, but it looks like it, but it's Bookself. So it's kind of like a book social network. So you can discover new stuff, new books that you might be excited about. You can share books with some followers that you're excited about too, and really connect with the community and get excited about the stuff that you're reading. So you can have it like a social reading list and follow other people with the social reading list. So it's really cool. You can really track all the books that you want to read and let other people see that, and see the books that other people that you might find really interesting want to read. You can show what you're reading, see what other people are reading, and then you can have like an archive of everything that you have read and see what other interesting people have read. It's really cool. I wish more people use this, honestly. But the biggest, best thing probably is just the built-in recommendation engine. So based on the stuff that you're interested in, then this will spit out some great recommendations. And for me, with Audible, I get 2 credits every month. That's the tier that I'm on, and I want to make those count. Audible's cool because you can like return a book if you got into it and it wasn't very good. But still, I want to avoid that, and I really want to make the most of what information I'm cramming into my brain that month and make it count. And so the recommendations are everything. And Audible does a decent job of recommending, but there's something about Bookself that's just great. One of my favorite things about Google's new Pixel phone, the Pixel 4, is that it has a voice recorder app that is so good with dictation, and even offline, especially offline. You don't even have to be connected to the internet. It's so good with dictation that I considered like reviving my blog. Dailytekk started off as a blog back in 2012. I was at a job that I didn't like, and I got bored, and I started this on the side, and it got really popular, hundreds of thousands of views like overnight. So I had this blog going until Google killed it with its SEO Penguin update, I think is what it was. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting into video. Got into video, and here we are. But it made me think about bringing back the blog, because writing can take up a lot of time. And I tried out Google's recorder app, and I was able to write like a 1,200 word article in just like 7 minutes or something. And it just needed a few little corrections, maybe, but it's so powerful, so good. And the iPhone doesn't really have anything like that, except now it kind of does. This is obviously inspired by Google's Pixel 4 voice recorder, but it's called Smart Voice Recorder Offline. So the big thing here is that it's live transcription. So as you talk, you see what's getting typed out, and it works offline, and you can search through it. So let's say you dictated something for half an hour, and you don't want to scroll through all the text to find whatever you said about whatever client. Just search for it, and there it is. It's really useful, this kind of a tool. Now, is this as good? Is it as robust as Google's? It's not. And Google's is free with the Pixel. This does cost, and it's kind of expensive. I think the app developer should probably lower the price. But for certain types of people, this kind of a tool is revolutionary. And why is it different than just transcribing to your iPhone using Siri or whatever? Siri's good, but it doesn't do as good of a job when it comes to like punctuation and stuff. A while back, when the iPhone got support for third-party keyboards, like everyone was talking about them, and there was like swipe keyboard and all these keyboards, and now Apple lets you swipe just in its normal iOS 13 keyboard, and just it's not a big deal really anymore. But I did find a new keyboard that I thought was worth including in this app list because it was so different. Keyboards, as we know them in the modern era, sort of came from the typewriter days. And the typewriter layout was designed specifically for a totally different era than what we're in right now. And so we get these rectangular keys, and it's not necessarily made for fast typing with your thumbs on a mobile device. And not just the speed, but you get a lot of typos. Autocorrect is there for a reason, and autocorrect can drive us all nuts. But what if you could type with less typos just from the get-go? So yeah, 70% wider, larger keys. That's pretty cool. Now there's a learning mode where you don't have to use their different layout. So there is that. And there's also tutorials that like help you like figure it out. I'm not going to spend too much time on here because I think this is going to appeal to a small-ish amount of people, but those people are going to be really excited. Now, I cover Siri shortcuts periodically here. I made a video about it a long time ago. I just talked about my AirPods shortcut a couple videos back that lets me just pop on to my iPad or my iPhone and connect to my AirPods Pro or my Beats Solo Pros, whatever, in one tap. People freaked out and really liked that. And by the way, I talked about that on my podcast. There's a podcast clip on our Clips channel if you want to check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. But Siri shortcuts, there's so much potential there, and people just don't understand, I don't think, how to get the most out of it yet. And I want to tell you about a new tool that I ran across that makes Siri shortcuts even cooler with 50 really awesome new actions. This thing is called Toolbox Pro for shortcuts, and it will help you do things like on-device OCR, or the ability to read text. Object recognition. You can read and write to NFC. You can filter images, detect faces, analyze colors, sync global variables. And there's more advanced stuff too. And this is why I'm putting this towards the end of this section here of the video, because it is kind of more advanced. Like Siri shortcuts, I think a lot of people have a hard enough time getting into it as is. Even with the gallery, it's really not as complicated as people think. But for people who even want to push Siri shortcuts even further, like the kind of people that would use Keyboard Maestro on the Mac, then something like this, it lets you do more. Just for instance, like you can save data and pull it in and make it useful from across multiple devices. That's kind of cool. Or you can like get a preview of a picture that you took instead of just a string of code or text. Like you can get an actual preview of a picture that you took as part of a shortcut, and gives you more of an app-like a feel, an experience with your shortcut. So if you want to grab the colors out of an image or detect motion on your device, you can do that kind of stuff. So long story short, it lets you do some stuff that was previously not doable, impossible, without this toolbox. And the good news is, whether you're more advanced or not, there are some built-in examples to help you get started, to help you wrap around your brain around what this thing can actually do. All right, let's get into the Q&A section. I asked you guys what questions you had about app-related stuff, whether my app setup or just apps in general for the iPhone. And the first thing that I want to hit is somebody asked, what are some of my workflow and productivity tools? I have several. The one that I want to concentrate on for this answer is Trello. It's really my content pipeline. I use it for everything. So for content on this channel, the main channel, for content on the podcast, for anything that I might be making content for, it goes into Trello to get organized. It's a Kanban board type of thing, and it just gives you cards that you can stick into categories, and you can drag and drop stuff, is what I really like about that. A lot of people use it like this, like stuff that they're needing to work on, done working on, or that somebody else needs to work on, and they'll just drag those cards between those categories, and you can keep a whole team organized that way. Or what I do is, like, I have ideas for like videos, or maybe like categorize it by like a device or type of video, or just stash stuff in there that I know I'm gonna need. And then you can go in and you can attach stuff to those cards, whether it's to-dos or like a document, like a Word document or something. You can share it with people. You can theme it. It works great on mobile, in the web. There's a Mac app. That is one app that just I couldn't probably get by without. And I know there's alternatives too. Trello's kind of long in the tooth. It's been around for a while now, but it continues to just simply work. And that's why I like it. So if you've never tried it before, I would say check it out. Here's a good question. I think this gets asked every now and then, but how do I find my apps? The easiest thing for me is actually the hardest thing. Like, there's no simple way to just find a bunch of apps. That's why this video doesn't come out every day or every week. But what I do is, when I run into something cool, it could be like a recommendation from a real person or from an article, or just that I come across on myself, like in the App Store. Whenever I find something, I sort of have like a bucket where I stash it. And so if it's for an iPhone app, if it's for iPads, and I do this for everything, whether it's tips that I run into for tech stuff that I want to try personally or for the business. I have these buckets, they're digital buckets, and I store stuff in them. And so for a video like this, I'll store up stuff over like months, 3 or 4 months or something. And then when I get 5 or 6 or 7 really good ones that are really different, then I'll go ahead and create some content around it. Now, a more direct answer for you would be, I check some different resources too. Reddit is a great place to find apps, obviously. One of my favorites is Product Hunt. I've talked about them all the time. In fact, I talked about them on some video and they sent me like a shirt, which shrunk and doesn't fit me anymore. But I liked it for a while. It was very soft, nice, comfy. Product Hunt's amazing though. If people are out there like trying to develop and get their apps out into the mainstream consciousness, and Product Hunt is often the place where they launch. And so if you want to know about stuff before it hits the App Store, and stuff that never hits the App Store, Product Hunt is just a great resource. And not just for apps. I mean, like, If you're looking for only the coolest, and it's all very tech focused, by the way. A lot of it's startup tech, but also tech too, like gadgets and stuff. If you're just looking for like cool gadgets, you'll find that there. And you can put stuff into collections. You can follow me on Product Hunt. Just look up Dailytekk and you'll see all the stuff that I've upvoted over the years. And then you won't have to watch these videos. No, that's not true. Don't do that, actually. Somebody says, what's the current layout of my home screen on my iPhone? So I have one folder that says extras, and inside the top 9 apps are Overcast, the podcast app, Streaks, which helps me like stay on top of stuff when I use it. Not using it lately. I need to. Got to get back into it. 1Password, deliveries, keeps me on top of my stuff. Got my bank app. Mural is the app that goes with my digital art screen. So if you saw my desk setup video just recently, and if you haven't, go check it out. I'm really proud of that. Very useful for you too. But I got a digital art screen right next to my desk, and this is the app that lets me load it up with art. Got the Buy Me a Coffee app. By the way, if this video was useful to you and you want to give me an extra thank you, then maybe consider buying me a coffee using the link down in the description. And I'll open up this app and be like, oh wow, somebody bought me a coffee, and then I'll go get a coffee. Got the Disney Plus app in there. It's not on my home screen. I don't want to be too distracted, but really enjoying The Mandalorian and Shortcuts, the Apple Shortcuts app. And then I got a bunch of other stuff in my extras. So on the top row, I still got settings, a Panasonic image app. My main camera is a Panasonic camera that I shoot with, and so this just helps me control it remotely. Photos app, because I'm in there all the time. YouTube and YouTube Studio, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Mail. We're going to talk about email in just a second. I really don't like any email apps these days, so I'm back to Apple Mail. Audible, Apple News, which I do pay for, only basically for Wall Street Journal access, and TechCrunch, Extra Crunch, or Extra Crunchy, whatever. Not because I really like it all that much. Buffer, Trello, Pocket, Apple Notes, Reminders, Product Hunt, Logos Bible, and New Bible. And that's it. Next question is, where do I get my iPhone wallpapers from? Usually just from Unsplash. If you're not familiar with Unsplash, I always assume, I never know what people know about and what they don't. I always assume everybody knows about the stuff I know about, but I guess that's not really the case. Unsplash is like a free stock photo website. It has some really high quality stuff. Okay, somebody asked about email. What's my email app recommendation? I guess if I had to give you a recommendation and you wanted something that was free, I would say check out Spark. It just got redesigned. I mean, Outlook is okay, but it's just boring. It bores me. Apple Mail is okay because it just works, but also boring. The thing that I'm kind of excited about, and it's free right now, but it's going to start costing $15 a month, is a thing that I just covered in the unbelievably useful Mac apps video just the other day, and it's called Tempo, and they're working on a mobile version. They've got one for the Mac, and it's going to be coming to the iPhone. And when it does, that's when they're going to start charging. Last question is, what's my favorite cross-platform app between the iPhone and the Apple Watch? I hate to disappoint you. It's nothing like super amazing. The one that I use the most, though, is just Apple Music. All right, that's it for this video. Please check out the podcast, Dailytekk After Party. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go edit the latest one, get that uploaded for you guys. We have a clips channel where some of the clips from our main videos and from the podcast go to live and have their own life. So you check that out too if you like more like short form content. Don't forget, I'm at Dailytekk, spelled Daily Tekk on Instagram and Twitter. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.